bit nervous.
No,
Don't be nervous.
The simplicity of it is that you're trying to drive your arm through the bag, right?
Okay.
And so just hitting the bag is a language.
Yeah, I don't think I speak the language right now, but I could learn it.
Oh, is he crushed? And you know that's a Ronnie Lott tackle when you hear him all the way to the top row.
Ronnie Lott is probably the best guy that ever played safety in this league.
I want you to get it lower, and I want you to swing this arm
Okay.
like you're gonna tackle.
Don't come in the middle anymore, because I'm waiting right here for you.
You had a smile on your face, though. You can't hit anything really hard with a smile.
Oh, really?
Be intentional.
I don't think I can not smile. Let's see.
Ooh, yeah. Oh.
I like it.
Her little pop. Yeah.
You gonna be a football player when you grow up?
Today is the best day of your life. Believe it.
Give me 8 years of daylight. That's all right.
Greatest leader I've ever known.
What a ride it's been.
You're gonna deliver a woo hit when the crowd goes woo.
Have you ever seen the old football games that Daddy played in?
Yeah,
Really? Because I don't think we've ever shown any of
I
them.
haven't.
We haven't really played any for the kids.
Yeah, a little bit.
They don't know much about Daddy's football career. They know Daddy as Daddy.
To most of the world, I think people see my dad as a heavy hitter, a tough guy. I think most people see him as intimidating, as maybe a little mean, a little scary, and that's just not how I see him. I wasn't really that involved in his career, and I think it was almost a way for him to respect our family, is leaving work at work. I wasn't watching his film when I was 5. When he was with us, it was playful and fun, and we were always laughing. Still to this day, he just loves football. So I'm hoping to start a podcast interviewing our grandparents, interviewing our family, interviewing some of his friends, and hopefully be able to gather from them information about what he was like when he played and what made him the player that he was and why he loves football so much.
That's a good story to open up with.
That is a good story.
That's a good story.
He liked PF Flyers when he was like 6?
Yes.
Wow, you
Because
have
you can
style.
run faster and jump higher.
I think we may have some PF Flyers. If you think that they would, do you think they still would make you run faster and jump higher?
I can't believe you. There we go. See, this is a good way to
Let me see if they will.
Ooh. The story goes that I put them on, went to the second story, and I jumped out of the window. And the reason why is that I just thought that
You could really fly.
He thought he could fly. He's hanging on this ledge, and he goes out the window, and he goes, boom, and all the kids run. You gotta see what he's doing. You gotta see what he's doing.
My dad grew up in a military family, bouncing from New Mexico to Washington, D.C., and settling down in Rialto, California.
You know I'm practically raised at Ronnie Lott. Huh?
Oh, is that right? What a sweetheart. Oh, my
Dad
God.
is a good friend.
What a man.
Roy was a recruiter for the Air Force, and I was a mailman. I knew Ronnie from 8 years old. I had him through basketball and baseball, but he just liked hitting people. They'd see him coming, and they just fall down, or they'd take the ball and throw it away. They'd keep it from getting hit.
Wait, so do you guys remember Dad's first tackle?
So here come this guy out to the sidelines. He was coming really hard, right? Ronnie comes out of nowhere, right? Hit this kid, and everybody went, woo.
That didn't change when he grew up, and he played in an era when the NFL's definition of a legal hit was very different than today.
I'll tell you, did you see that hit there, Ronnie Lott?
They almost knocked his uniform off.
He was really socked by Ronnie Lott.
What a hit by Ronnie Lott.
But back to his childhood. I heard a story about Dad playing kickball. Supposedly some incident happened with a teacher.
Oh, God.
It was 5th grade, and it was Mr. Preciado. He kicked the ball to me. And when he kicked the ball, in those days, you could throw the ball, throw the kick ball to tag him out. I threw it hard, right?
Because you had to get him out.
I wanted to get him out.
Yeah.
But because I threw it really hard and it hurt, he goes, "You got to get out of here," because that was bad sportsmanship. And I was like, "No, I was just throwing the ball to get you out."
What'd you have to do after
But
that?
So I got punished, and I came home and I had to write a book on sportsmanship. Sportsmanship is one of the important rules of football, baseball, and basketball, and hockey. If you have bad sportsmanship, they will give you a warning, and sometimes they'll kick you out of the game.
In high school, my dad starred at defensive back and wide receiver. Before each game, he listened to the opening speech from Patton.
Americans love a winner and will not tolerate a loser. Americans play to win all the time. I wouldn't give a hoot in hell for a man who lost and laughed. That's why Americans have never lost and will never lose a war. Because the very thought of losing is hateful to America.
When a kickball scholarship failed to materialize, my dad went to USC and played in their secondary.
Well, I met Ronnie when I was a defensive back at USC. I was the freshman cornerback my sophomore year. Even though I moved to offense, I still roomed with Ronnie. Now I go from really being an ally, learning from Ronnie,
Intercepted by Lott.
To a person trying to stay alive. He practiced with such conviction.
I wanted to kill him. Not because I hated him, because I loved him. Because I had that much respect for him. I loved all my teammates, but my way of showing love sometimes, maybe they thought it was a little crazy, but that was just my way.
Ronnie was not a good loser. He wanted to win on every single play. If there was an interception, he wanted to run it back. If there was a hit, he was disappointed if he didn't cause a fumble. He always uses the expression about exhausting life. He exhausted himself on the football field.
Coming up.
Do you think that's real? Was it that high?
Yeah. Yeah, I could jump that high.
You don't have to show me now. Show me later.
I could get up there. I used to.
I believe you. Is one of those little cutouts you?
Well, one of those little cutouts is going to be you.
Where do we start?
San Francisco 49ers, first round selection. Defensive back, Ronnie Lott, USC.
Is this modeled after a specific moment? Or
It's probably modeled after the fact that I'm like pointing at somebody, telling them, you better get in the right spot.
By the end of the year in 1979, the 49ers had gone through 33 defensive backs. It was like a turnstile. I remember talking to Cedric Hardman. He didn't even want to get to know anyone because every week he turned around, there was a new face in the secondary.
The 49ers had just disintegrated as an organization and as a football team. Our defensive backs couldn't be found on the tapes or the film. They weren't there, just a guy catching a pass. So in the 1981 draft, we drafted Carlton Williamson, Eric Wright, one of the greatest players of all time, and Ronnie Lott.
oh my gosh.
I had hair. I had hair.
My dad started his career playing cornerback for 49ers defense that lacked a physical identity. His team was manhandled by the Falcons.
We get our rear ends handed to us. Everything's going wrong. I fumbled the ball on a kickoff. Bill Walsh comes in the locker room after the game, and he says, "We're never going to get out hit again." And that became the battle cry for our defense. We played them later in the season, and Alfred Jackson hit me
Alfred Jackson blocked him in a way that required like 10 stitches in Ronnie's lip. Ronnie didn't like that. We got an interception. Ronnie turned around, and it was Alfred Jackson. You could see a light bulb go off in his head. It's like, you mother, it was you.
I think Ronnie Lott was just thrown out of the game.
Why?
Sometimes in life, you don't want to get out hit.
42 right there. Oh. On the elbow, right in the jaw.
There is Lott. He's out of the ball game.
I brought an attitude that maybe the Niners didn't have, a nasty attitude of wanting to hit people.
Felt look like it hurt.
It looks like it hurt.
Yeah.
Wanting to hit people, I enjoyed that. Wanting to make plays, I enjoyed that too.
He was definitely the heart of the defense. He was a madman. He always said to me, you gotta bring ass to get ass.
In his rookie season, my dad intercepted 7 passes and scored 3 touchdowns. In the playoffs against the Giants, he had 2 more interceptions. And another touchdown.
Picked up by Ronnie Lott. Watch this little burst here. He looks like one of those great running backs like a Walter Payton or Tony Dorsett.
And after a win against the Cowboys in the NFC Championship, they were on their way to the Super Bowl! Late in the third quarter, the 49ers had the lead, but the Bengals had the momentum. And first and goal from the 3-yard line.
Yeah, what was your role?
In that goal line stance?
Yeah.
On each play, each gap had to be sealed.
Again, gets to Johnson, and he gets down close. Looks like he's about a half-yard short.
All 11 guys had to do their job.
And knocked backwards, if you can believe that.
Alexander turns, and Buns was right there.
And so, shutting people down.
I know you like that.
Yes.
We got to go again, and that's what Forrest Gregg has already said. Go for it.
From the 2-foot line, calling signals on 4th down, has the ball, hands it off. He's met at the goal line. I don't believe he got in. The 49ers have held.
At that moment, you could see that victory was in front of us. Life changed for a lot of guys on that team.
How did it change for you?
The change was the pursuit of now wanting more. Everybody was ecstatic, and we did it. And now we get to do it again.
They're all talking defense. Ronnie Lott, Fred Meade, and Archie Reese. Let's go back upstairs now to Pat Summerall and John Madden for a final thought.
Coming up.
When you signed up for the 49ers, you signed up to be led by this man. You signed up for the Lakers, you know what you signing up for.
What's up, kid?
Hi.
Hello, how are you?
Good, I'm Haley.
Yeah, you were a little girl when I saw you. What's up? How you feel, man?
Oh, man, I'm doing great.
Back in the 80s, my dad started his career alongside a few famous people. One of those relationships I remember from growing up was one that my dad had with 5-time NBA champion Magic Johnson.
So you, I think, were a rookie in '79, and there was this up-and-coming basketball player. I have a picture of him, and I'd like you to flip it over and see if you recognize that guy.
I didn't know this. Right, I didn't know you play hoop at USC.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Were you good?
I couldn't shoot free throws, but I could play a little D.
Yeah.
And I could dish it, and I wanted to dish it like you.
You guys did kind of know each other a little bit in the 80s. Did you guys watch each other, and what did you guys learn from each other, if you learned anything?
It's hard to, first of all, find two athletes in different sports who were as cool and be friends like we were, and that we could learn from each other. So we both admired each other. We watched each other play.
Yeah, it's interesting how many parallels you guys both have, because you both won big championships your rookie year. What's the difference in your mentality and how you show up?
You know, you really don't enjoy winning.
Think about that, what you just said.
Yeah, because you don't really have time to enjoy it because you're so busy trying to do it again.
Did you feel like that too?
Oh, yeah. You only have one thought in mind. You're not thinking that you're going to win the division. It's all or nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
After we won the first one in '81, the strike season was '82.
A strike-shortened year. We didn't make the playoffs, lost the last game of the season.
When you were faced with loss, how did you recover from that? How did you move forward and
Well, I can tell you, the hardest loss is the loss, and you know that that's the last games. And we had the hardest loss in playing the Redskins in that championship game.
One more quarter to go. Washington 21, San Francisco nothing. For the right to go to Super Bowl 18.
I remember they were down, came back and busted. We were sitting there, all of a sudden, it was boom, 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 boom.
Did you see Ronnie Lott come flying in? That's the way it has to be played.
We had to have Joe's back. If we got the ball back to Joe 2 more times in the fourth quarter, it's over.
McKenna back to throw. Going deep.
Freddie Solomon beats Darryl Green and gets the touchdown.
And the 49ers are right back in it.
This is a fantastic thing what they're doing here.
San Francisco and Washington tied up at 21. 2 minutes left to play. 3rd and 5 for Washington.
Back is Theismann, lofts it into the air for Garrett in the end zone, knocked away beautifully. Another flag.
Holding number 42, defense, automatic first down.
The play was to the other side. Ronnie just turned around and touched it.
I don't know, that's awfully close to be calling that a hold.
To this day, I still say that it wasn't a holding call.
And that's what got him down there to kick what would be the winning points.
It really bothered him, and it bothered everybody. But he wanted to kill somebody.
Ronnie Lott, really upset.
Toughest loss I've ever had. Being on the other side, looking across the field, knowing that what you worked for since August is being taken away from you is the hardest thing to swallow. And you got to chew on that taste of losing. And when you lose that game, it's 2 things that you do. One, you're mad at yourself because you couldn't get it done, but then you realize that you got to get back in the gym and you realize that you got to get back to work.
Yeah, because I think that, to his point, is that when we lost to the Celtics in '84, especially against my rival, Larry Bird, and I still hate him right now, you carry that with you, and you make sure your teammates understand it too. When, okay, you look at them celebrating, but next year we're gonna be hoisting that trophy.
You could just feel it every week, every day. You would just sit there and you would realize that you got to find a way to get back to the top of the mountain.
The next season, Ronnie Lott played like a man possessed every time he went onto the field.
It consumes you to the point where people don't understand why you want this so bad.
See, we both played the game with passion. Ronnie with a big hit, a big interception. He was into it. Our teammates followed us. It was no way they were gonna say, oh, they're driving us too much, because that's who we are. See, when you signed up for the 49ers, you signed up to be led by this man. You signed up for the Lakers, you know what you signed up for.
That leadership brought the 49ers to another Super Bowl. where they faced the league's MVP, Dan Marino.
Danny had an unbelievable season. He set the touchdown record, and I think the challenge that Ronnie saw was being aggressive.
We felt that we could be physical with them, and we were able to shut them down. That defense in 1984 was probably the best defense I've ever been associated with. In the biggest game, we literally shut down the best quarterback in the National Football League.
And Ronnie, the mindset was aggression on their wide receivers, which was really who Ronnie was at his core anyway. No matter what that receiver was or is, that was his approach. Hit him in the mouth.
I love everything about your father because winners play the game the right way. Fierce competitors. And that's why people love him and admired him, but also feared him. Mm-hmm. Your father, he set the standard for DBs, safeties. I mean, there'll never be nobody like him.
Up next, my dad shows his propensity for delivering big hits.
Early in the game, do you try to establish physical superiority over the receivers you'll be covering?
Do I try to establish physical superior? Oh man, where'd you get these questions from?
They just handed to me.
Yes, I walk out there and I measure myself up to him physically, and I look at this gentleman and I say, "Gee, you're such a stud, but I'm gonna knock the out."
In Tombstone, when somebody asked Val Kilmer, Wyatt, he's going for revenge. And he said, no, make no mistake, it's not revenge he's after. It's about the reckoning.
People say, well, how do you hit so hard? Mike Tyson, you could see him hit somebody and everybody would go, wow, because you could feel it. You could feel all his energy go through somebody. That's how I felt. I wanted it to come from my toes all the way up through my soul. I wanted everything to go into the hit.
He really sacrificed his whole body. I mean, he was a kamikaze.
Peyton ricochets off Ronnie Lott.
In one game against the Packers, my dad fractured his tibia in the first quarter and kept playing.
Ronnie Lott broke before the ball was even thrown. And Randy Wright has it intercepted by Ronnie Lott, who's at the 40, and they run it all the way in. Touchdown, 49ers. And Ronnie Lott, second interception of the ball game.
It's no secret that if you played the game the way my dad did, you dealt with a lot of pain. This is the man who helped him do just that.
The greatest tool, it's overcoming pain. There's mental pain, there's physical pain. Part of where your father excelled was such mental toughness that he looked past the pain, which is amazing because once you can break through it, then what happens is when you start feeling pain come in from other areas, since you've gone through that pain barrier so many times, pain is no longer a barrier.
George Chung put my brothers and me through one of my dad's old workouts.
Ready, go. Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, dang. This looks crazy.
Nice. So we're just training the football move, but we're training it like a karate or a boxing move.
And as you're sitting around and you're trying to go, and as you're trying to do it, right?
Oh, man, got some skills. In your father's case, he might have 2 or 3 people around him, and we would just start bombarding him. And then we would start speeding it up like this. We would start speeding it. And then we'd go until we get to 100. Move around. Move around. Move around. Oh. That's okay. You're doing great. Move around.
Move around.
One more.
Let's go. Let's go. There, bring it
job.
up.
Good job.
Yeah, all right, there you go. There you go.
So,
Oh my God.
that would normally go in 3 minutes.
3 minutes.
So that was about 30 seconds.
Oh my God.
Right?
That was at least 10 minutes.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, man.
Growing up, I heard story after story about the crazy lengths my dad went through to play after suffering a serious finger injury.
He didn't want to come out of the game at that time, and he just pulled it off. They put tape on it, he went back in the game. I thought, unbelievable.
Yeah, he went over to the sideline, and, you know, the pinky was literally broken in half, and they're going to take him into the locker room, take him out of the game. He said, the hell with that. Just snip it off. I'm finishing this game.
It was hanging there and said, here, take it.
This is the true story behind the legend.
I think Ronnie Lott hurt his left hand on that play. That thing, oh yeah, they caught it right there.
He effectively jammed his small finger into the face mask and the helmet of the opposing player. So the helmet got underneath his fingernail and really ripped his fingernail off of the finger, broke the finger.
Ronnie Lott will not be back.
So when we saw Ronnie in the office, there was a piece of bone that was missing, some of the skin was missing, and the fingernail was absent. His main concern was when he could get back to play the next weekend.
Said, I got to play, and he was like, it's going to be hard to play with the front of your finger, gone. And I was like, oh, I know I can do it. I've seen other guys. When I was growing up, I would read about Jack Youngblood playing in the Super Bowl and breaking his leg. I would think if I ever was in that position, I could do it.
We put him in a splint, and then depending upon what the outcome would be, we would consider what the treatment path would be from there on.
And how did it feel to play with just something that was different?
It was so awkward, and it was so tough.
Ronnie Lott, for as tough a guy as he is and as good a tackler, he just can't play out there one-handed. And he's out there trying to make those plays, and he can't.
The 49ers' loss ended their season. For my dad, it began an off-season of complications.
So we had him in a splint over the ensuing few months. The bone didn't heal as we would have wished, and it continued to show a gap. We could do an operation to add some bone to the break to stimulate the healing, depending upon how quickly things healed. This injury could sideline him for the next season.
One, they would have had to put a fake nail, and then two, if I put a pin in it, that pin could possibly break. He felt that in my best interest was to have it amputated.
So we remove this part of the bone. It gets taken out and thrown away. And then we smooth off the part of the bone that's remaining. We take this good skin and we bring it up and around, and we stitch that skin up to the top.
I remember walking in, that morning thinking that, I'm John Wayne. I'm gonna, bite some wood, and they're just gonna cut it off. And that was not the case. When I heard the saw.
You heard it?
The saw? Yeah, I heard the saw. And so that's when they gave me some more medicine.
So when we took the cast off, Ronnie got a little bit lightheaded at the site of the finger. So we laid Ronnie down, let him relax a little bit so he didn't faint on us. And it was at that point in time that Ronnie verbalized to me, putting this all together, that football was eating away at his body.
Now you're in pain. And when you're in pain, you deal with it. I was looking for that moment, saying to myself, you know what, it's okay.
When I was young, my siblings and I didn't know about the amputation or what was going on with my dad's career.
When my kids look at it and they say, what happened? and you can't really describe it other than the fact that, hey, I got hurt playing football. Makes you think, it makes you wonder. Yeah, emotionally, yeah, it's kind of a touch and go thing, and it's built up to be like a Paul Bunyan story. They'll just hear the glory of it, somewhat fabricated. And I hope one day they do understand that their dad maybe should have thought about it.
After it had happened, he said he had these emotions of, wow, maybe I shouldn't have done that. He told me also that I didn't like the idea that it was on this hand because that's where my wedding ring would go. At times, there was a feeling of his finger still being there, and he called it a phantom finger, meaning that he still felt that it was there, it still itched, and he'd go to itch it, scratch it, and it wasn't there. And he said it took a while to reckon with the fact that he didn't have the end of his finger.
I did it because I do believe that I wanted to get out there for the right reasons. I wanted to play to help my team. It's something about that I think is always the right thing to do. Sometimes I feel like that was the best part of my life, of giving up everything you can for your teammates. The finger is part of you giving up something of yourself to the greater cause of trying to be the best you can be. This was like right in the middle of my career. And so for the rest of my career, it was all around the idea that you wanted to finish strong. Those are the things that I felt like I needed to do to be whole. You have to exhaust every moment.
How do you measure success in your profession?
I think the way you measure it is respect. I've always said this, and I've always believed in this, that when you walk off that football field, does your opponent respect you?
Ronnie Lott is the leader of the team. So Phil Simms is like one of the most competitive guys ever. And man, imagine Monday Night Football, him lighting us up for 500 yards passing. So I was a little worried about Phil.
It was brought to my attention through Jim Burke that I wasn't respected anymore by Phil Simms.
I had to maybe embellish a little some of the stuff that, you know, with Ronnie to get him going. Simms thinks you're this, Simms thinks you're that. No.
He really got me riled up. I sprained both my knees. I could barely stand.
Ronnie Lott looks like he's limping.
I was gonna crawl off that field to make sure that Phil Simms respected me.
Watch Ronnie Lott. Bang!
And Simms over the middle. Ronnie Lott knocked it away.
I wanted to tell him to his face, respect this.
I went over to him and said, Ronnie, I was just kidding about it. It was too late.
I had lost it. And he was startled because he didn't know what the heck was going on.
My dad was never afraid to challenge opponents for respect, or his head coach, Bill Walsh.
Do you remember this?
This
Setup?
No.
You don't?
I didn't spend a lot of time in the teacher's room. I realized that when I was in this setting, that usually something was wrong. So.
He's the only player I've ever had that just challenged me and took me on right in front of the rest of the team. We had a player strike, and then when the players rejoined the team, Ronnie proceeded to tell me what I had done wrong, why I had failed a lot of the team, and I proceeded to explain to him exactly why. And then he challenged me that much more. Then I explained even further. When it broke up, we were great friends again. But you can count on one thing, he speaks his mind.
I had my moments where I would, say things that needed to be said, even though it might not have been the right thing at the right time, but I would say them because life is about being authentic.
They wanted me to give you this shirt. It's all offensive linemen. They just want to get a message across to you, I guess.
My dad played cornerback for the first 4 years of his career and made the Pro Bowl every season. Bill Walsh thought that his physical style had taken a toll on his speed.
Now, he has a problem there with Lott. One, he hasn't been doing well at corner. He's been beaten a number of times this year.
Playing the corner spot the first 3 games of the season in 1985, they nicknamed me One a Game because I was giving up a touchdown a game. And
he also got a new position, safety.
Are you happy at safety?
He didn't like that. That was a personal attack.
When you're slow, you should be happy at safety.
It was saying that, hey, yeah, you just can't cut it out there anymore.
what Bill was great at was sometimes motivating you in really different ways. I realized that I needed to get better.
Those were challenging times for Ronnie, but those were times where I think we got better. And obviously for Ronnie, you know, he was all pro at both, so it didn't get in the way.
He was a cornerback, now he's playing free safety, leads the NFL in interceptions. He's also the leading tackler on the 49er defensive unit.
In his first 4 years at safety, he intercepted 26 passes, made the Pro Bowl 3 times, and helped propel the team to another Super Bowl. So, I want to know your favorite memory from the Super Bowl that year.
I always find that in big moments in life, we all have to have our ways of how we approach it. Ickey Woods at that time was having an incredible year, was phenomenal. We had to slow this guy down. Ickey Woods hadn't had a guy hit him, and he got up saying, man, that guy hit me. How many gunslingers you know that they got that defining moment and they got to go up against Jesse James?
And it was a sound that it's just undescribable.
Woods again, his 5th carry. Oh, is he hit?
It changed the game. It took them from being a running team to where Boomer has to throw the ball. He put fear in people's heart.
And when you want to hit a guy like Ickey Woods, the ultimate thing to do is to lay him right on his back and to get respect.
I said it last night, maybe we can look at each other after this game and look at our hearts. Everybody sold out this week. Everybody. Damn, it's great, isn't it? You gotta love it.
Coming up, the Bobo Scowl. Recording?
There we go. Oh, I like that.
Oh,
Let's go. Here we go. Come on. Awesome.
So I feel like a lot of people know Dad on the field, and I feel like a lot of times I was really separated from like your football life to your life at home. And for me, I didn't really get it.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't aware of it. Like, it was just like, hey, by the way, you know, Dad was really good at football. Football's on TV. People watch the TV, so people are gonna give you weird looks.
Well, we definitely did. I will say that we definitely did experience the Bobo stare.
It was one of those Clint Eastwood, Dirty Harry kind of stares. It's pretty intense.
That intensity brought my dad to another Super Bowl, winning 2 in a row in 1988 and 1989.
Back to back. That was Ronnie. He had that look. He had that scowl. Like he just looked through people.
He brought the Bobo Scowl to a few more teams before retiring in 1995. We still saw that look even after he left the field.
You've gotten it before, the Bobo Scowl.
Yeah,
when you've gotten in trouble, you've all gotten it.
You did?
Yeah, well, I didn't know what it was.
I didn't know there was a whole name for it.
I want the kids to show Daddy's mean face. Woo, yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
Where did that come from?
What?
Where did that come from? Where was that
Well, you
created?
gotta remember that, you know, sometimes you gotta act the part, right?
The first time we saw the culmination of all my dad's efforts on the football field was at his Hall of Fame induction.
I would like to introduce to you my son, Ronald Mandel Lott.
I do remember the moment where they showed film. I think it was the first time you'd ever seen footage of your dad. We hadn't done that.
I remember seeing you on stage and all of these people cheering for my dad. A lot of my feelings were more like, whoa. You can feel that loudness, you can feel the energy, and just being like, yeah, whoa.
No.
You must be pretty cool.
I don't know if you guys have heard the General Patton speech, but I'd lay there every night in the dark thinking about what it's like to be an American and how we don't tolerate losers. I took that to heart, and I tried to be the best. Thank you.
Other way, Dad.
That's the other way? Okay.
My dad never brought football home with him, but he's always brought the same passion and dedication on the fields to our family.
So get a little bit closer, Dad. Inhale, reach, and this time you'll hold your hands up to the sky. Right hand grabs your left wrist. Can you soften here a little bit?
Soften what?
Soften your shoulders right here. I feel like a lot of people know Dad on the field as this really tough football player, this hard hitter, and we saw a really soft side of him. Yeah. Everyone's like, oh my goodness, like that's Ronnie Lott, and I'm just in my head like, if you only knew, he's so... I mean, my favorite part is that, yeah, he's intense, but he also can laugh, he can run around this house dancing and singing his heart out, and he's everything, you know?
Right.
You know, I've watched him play, and I loved watching him play because I loved that passion. You know, people see that on the field, but they don't know that he has that at home, too. He is that intense at home, too.
Put the block underneath your tailbone. I like to do medium, but you could do lower.
You going low?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she went low.
I'll go high.
Oh, okay. Does that feel comfy, Dad?
That's him. That's him there on the field. He's going to give you 100%. As a wife, he gives me 100%. As a daddy, you know, he's given you 100%.
Throughout the journey of this podcast, my dad has shared the massive impact football has had on his life with me.
It's great to see you sitting here when it could have been somebody else interviewing us. That's who your father is. When they called and said, Ronnie Lott, I'm in.
The one thing that stands out above all else is that whoever he comes into contact with, whether it's his opponents, his teammates, and especially his family, he always gives you absolutely everything he's got.
Ronnie always talked about exhausting himself. He did in football, but he's doing it now in life off the field.
Probably saw it. Good job.
Good job, bro. You guys ready for a team chant?
I'm in. I'm in. What is it? What we got?
Yeah,
What do you got? What do you got? What do you got?
Lots don't quit. Do you guys remember that? Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Lots don't quit! Woo!
On your journey of life of, playing football or living life, you have moments of love, moments of happiness, moments of joy, moments of challenges, right? But more importantly, you have the commitment of making sure you exhaust every moment of your life.